Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covers, circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Ancient in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.
This is the Winter Crest Podcast. I am your host, Paul Rafu. On this podcast, we do our very best to equip you, the practitioner, to be the very best you can be, to navigate the world of magic in a way where you will see tangible, real results. No one comes to the craft wanting to be normal. None of us is here because we want to merely tweak the circumstance. We're here because we need power to do the things that we desire. We want our lives to be a certain way. We want to do certain things. And in order to get those things done, it's important to have power. So people come to the craft with a desire for power. Unfortunately, there are very, very few witches that have real power. There are very few of us that have power in their practice that distinguishes us from the rest of the world. And it's not because we are specially gifted. It's because we put in the work to be what we are. Now, we're going to get into some heavy things today. And we're going to talk about how to cultivate this power. Now, but before we get there, I often use the analogy of the gym. You can have someone go to the gym and they can have a membership. They can go in and buy a soda, sit down, check out the chicks, look around, walk around, go get in the swimming pool and leave. And they can do that for a whole year. At the end of that year, they look at themselves in the mirror, they check out the physique, and they wonder, wow, I look just as bad as I did a year ago. And I have a gym membership. That gym membership don't mean anything. Now you get another guy or a girl and they have a membership and they go into the gym. They hire a trainer, someone who knows what's going on. Not just somebody hanging out, eating Snicker bars, but someone who understands what's happening. They train, they work on different body parts on different days. They walk around the gym. They swim with a purpose. They change their diet. They study other gymnasts. They're watching it on YouTube. They're subscribing to different things. They're doing their best to learn about how to eat, how to sleep, what can put on weight, what can take it off, what builds muscle, what destroys muscle. At the end of that year, that person will have meaningful goals that they met, and they will see the results of it. They will meet their goals. They'll be stronger. They'll be able to see it in the mirror. They will look differently. Why? Because, now look at both of them. Both people had memberships. Both of them did. Both people had access to the same equipment, access to the same information, access to the same resources. But only one of them took advantage of the resource. This podcast is a gem. If you're just coming around, seeing what I'm going to say, and never applying the workout regimen, then it's not going to do you any good. But if you work at it, it will do you good. Now, your greatest weapon that you have in your arsenal of bringing to yourself the life that you want is yourself. I'm going to say it again. Your most formidable weapon, your greatest protective spell is you. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. No one else will be able to do for you what you can do for yourself. You are it, baby. And you have to deal with it accordingly. Now, understanding that you're the greatest weapon or the greatest protection you have, that the life that you're desiring hinges on you, then it's important to find out how you work. It's important to find out how you function. It's important for you to do the shadow work, to realize what triggers you and what causes you to tick. At conception, there is vibrations received from the mother to that single cell. As you grew in your mother's womb, you literally grew in a chemical factory. You fed off of her emotions. You knew when she was happy. You knew when she was stressed. If mommy is stressed on the outside, baby is stressed in the womb. As you grew, you heard those sounds that was around her. You heard whatever television program she watched. You listened to whatever music she listened to. You heard the people that she talked to. You were snooping in those conversations. You were listening from within the womb. When you were born, the indoctrination increased. As an infant, in your crib, you heard the television going. You heard people talking around you. You never went to school to learn the language that you spoke. You went to school to better speak the language that you heard or that you learned. However, you learned that language from listening to others talk. You sat there and watched how they moved. And you mimicked what you saw and heard. You started scooting and rolling over. What are you doing? You're trying to do what you're seeing. You're trying to act like the others around you. They're not sitting in one spot all day. So you roll over. And what are you doing? You're strengthening muscles. Then you start scooting. You're saying little phrases and little verbiage. It don't sound like the ones around you, but you're making sounds. You're trying to work it out. You're crawling now, still being indoctrinated, looking up at everybody. They're using those two little feet, but you're on your knees, and you don't know what a knee is, but you know it's not like theirs. So you're still being indoctrinated by their actions, by both explicit and implicit instructions. You have instructions, they tell you or try to teach you certain things. These are the people that see that you're trying to walk, and they get you by your little hands and kind of help you move across the floor, and you really think you're getting it. And then they go around and just act how they act, and you watch how they act, and this also programs you. Well, you started walking and you started talking real good, and what do? They send you to preschool or elementary for further programming. You go there, and usually you're in a group that's similar to you. If you're wealthy, you're going to a wealthy school. If you're poor, you're going to a poor school. So all the poor kids are getting the same poverty message, and all the rich kids are getting the same wealth message. You're there with your peers, and they're further instructing you. You have the cool kids. The cool kids of the class is really a parental type. They're like the parent of the classroom. You're wanting to be like them. You're wanting to act like them. Or if you could just be one of them, how great would that be? But if you're not picked to be in the cool squad, you go to the reject center or something in between. You find your tribe. But with jealousy, you look at the more affluent kids. With jealousy, you look at the more cool kids. Further indoctrination. You go home and you're with a whole neighborhood of people that's like you. You watch the similar programming on television. You're listening to the same kind of music. You're using the same type of language. You grow up to 12th grade in this. Very few can escape this indoctrination. Very few are strong enough to escape this type of indoctrination. And even the few that do, you still have 18 years, if you live in America, of programming in your mind and in your heart. You have a subconscious catalog of actions, expressions, and language. And you have all of this filed away in your subconscious. So you go out there and you try to make a living for yourself. You try to do this right here, and you find yourself running into the same problems your mother had, running into the same problems your dad had, running into the same problems your uncle had. And you don't have to be around them. You could think you're different than they are, but because of the environment that you grew up in, that shit is inside of you. And the only way to fix it, get it out. Reprogram yourself. Self-hypnosis through repetition. Programming yourself when you wake up. Programming yourself right before you go to bed. Affirmation, visualizations, and meditations. Constantly listening to something other than what you grew up with. We got work to do. And see, that's the problem. Many people don't like the work. That's the issue. But there's work to be done. So in order to work this out, you need things like this podcast. You need things like How to Hoodoo. You need things that can give you a different type of programming. Because you've been programmed about what you can't do. So when we start talking about supernatural things, it's difficult for you to conceive them. We're talking about bilocation, being in two places at once. Y'all think, well, only Doctor Strange can do that. We're talking about flying in the flesh. And you say, well, if you have a ticket and you're aboard American Airlines, you can fly. That's the broomstick. No. I'm talking about literally doing it. When we talk about miracles and magic that defies science, you scared. You say, no. We can't do this. We can't defy science. We're not with that woo-woo stuff. And many of us apologize for our woo-woo. You know, we don't mind being a little strange, but we're not as strange as that Rafu person. He really out there. So when we're talking about collapsing dimensions and dimensionally surfacing and true manifestations where you really get what you truly desire, when we're talking about the constant cast and how that works, when I tell people you can bring back a pet that died, you can bring them back in reincarnation, you can draw a reincarnated loved one to you. They say, well, no, you shouldn't talk like that. You hurt people. They can't do that. That's not sensible. Why the hell is not? Because, see, you've been taught that it's impossible. And you believe it. You don't want to look like a fool. And you believe it. You know, America is one of the rudest places on the face of the earth, even the way we talk to each other. And I do my best to watch my language. You know, even the way, when we see each other, hey! You're just rude from the rip, right? And we love playing practical jokes on each other. We love talking to each other harshly. We put each other down. We call that fun. We talk about each other. This is ridiculous. You're doing this because you've been programmed for failure. You can talk each other up as well as talk each other down. Who taught you to do that to yourself? People that want to keep their thumb on you. But in Magick, our goal is to truly discover ourselves so we can change ourselves so that we can have the life that we want. I speak to you, magicians and sorcerers. Nothing is beyond your grasp if you know the right incantation. Nothing is beyond your grasp. But you got to work for it. You got to work for it. Improbable does not mean impossible. Just because you haven't seen it or it's difficult to do doesn't mean it can't be done. 7,000 years ago, it was difficult to fly in a plane. But nowadays, we're doing it all day long. So you have to make up your mind that you're going to do whatever it takes to fix your thoughts, to fix your spirit, to fix your mind, to really delve deep down inside of the darkest places in your subconscious mind to free yourself so you can be yourself. That's what the podcast is for, is to aid you in that. But it takes work. And it's going to take a little bit more than 5 minutes a day. It's going to take you seriously wanting to change your speech. Seriously wanting to change who you hang out with. You may have to get rid of some friends. You may not be able to listen to certain music. You may have some favorite music that's going in your subconscious that's holding you back. You may have to cut that and change the music. And this doesn't happen overnight. So you need to go and get started. It takes time. It takes you waking up every single day with the grit of knowing that I'm going to make myself better today, better than I was on yesterday. That's what it takes. I'm going to be stronger, more courageous, bolder. That's what it takes. And you got to do that day after day after day. Just like the gym membership. You just can't have the membership. You must work out. There's a lot of men that can help you. Bruce Lipton is one. Dr. Joe Dispenza is another. Paul Rafu is another. There are so many sources and resources that you have at your disposal. So many videos on YouTube and so many wonderful music. And this AI music has really helped people put music in their own language. We have a music channel. You can go to it. and you can feed your soul, you can feed your mind. And the more obsessed you are in changing who you are, the quicker you see results. The quicker you see results. To be so obsessed with your change to where you start changing your meal. What foods to help me think better? What foods to give me more control? I need friends that talk the woo. I need to hear programming like Paul Rafu. I need to study with this man. I need to learn from this man so that I can be the man, the woman that I desire to be magically. That's what we have to do if you're to be free. And I think freedom is possible. I think I was in a Wayne Dyer program. I was down with Wayne Dyer. He was in, I think it was Austin. And he said the time will come where what we're teaching will be so advanced that they will look back on my life and say I was limited. Now, when he was living, everybody said he was way out there like they did Louise Hay. But he said they're going to look back at me and say I was limited. He died not too long after that event. And we're at thresholds and things now that Greg Braden and the others weren't talking about way back in the day. We're at this threshold that we're pushing into the very meaning of the quantum world. And there's a lot of scientists and there's a lot of people at Caltech and MIT that don't like how we're doing it, but we don't give a damn about that. We're pressing in on that. And we're seeing results. You can do the same thing. That's what we do at Wintercrest. But you got to make up your mind. You got to be determined. You got to listen to these programs over and over and over and over and over again. You got to have friends that's going to be affirmative to your goals. You got to surround yourself with signs on your walls, and you got to stay out of certain atmospheres so that you can build your internal strength so you can truly see yourself. Now, many people in this world will never do this. Many people will never do it. Many witches will never do this. They'll sit back and say, well, I am who I am, and never change and never see one iota of real power manifesting in their lives. But there are some of us that understand that the masters had a point, and we are willing to put in the work to get it done. You've been listening to the podcast of Wintercrest, and I've been your host, Paul Abayarafu. Thank you for being with me. Blessed be to all of my friends. Cursed be to all of my enemies.
Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covers circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Etching in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.